Am I being detained?
No, you're not being detained, no.
See you later then.
But you're not, you can't go through there.
You're harassing me.
I'm not harassing
I'm trying to walk away.
you.
Okay, I'm going to go this way instead then.
No, if you...
No, I'm going to go to the bus stop. Okay? Leave me alone.
In this episode, Ed stands just outside a university campus with his camera, an ordinary act that quickly sparks an unexpectedly intense response. Rather than offering clear reasons, the officers approach with a confrontational tone, subtly treating him as a problem without defining any issue. What follows is a calm, controlled exchange, as Ed remains composed and methodically presses them to explain exactly what is done wrong. Each vague claim is met with a demand for clarity, and every hint of authority is challenged to be stated outright, until the pressure shifts, leaving the officers struggling to justify their actions.
You guys here for me?
Yeah, hi.
Oh, why? Can you maintain your distance there?
Can. Of course, yeah.
And also identify yourselves. Did you just switch your camera on?
Yeah.
Alright, please don't delete that. I'll be requesting a copy, alright? Also yours, please don't delete that. I'll be requesting a copy.
Of course.
Alright, can you identify yourselves, please,
Can I
officers?
ask you first, sorry, what was your first name, my friend?
I'm not at liberty to give you that. When you approach a member of the public, you identify yourself. That's your policy, so identify yourself.
Okay. So my name is Simon Tops, Police Constable 693, Simon Tops, Avon, Somerset Police.
And yours is?
My colleague.
5512 Josh Burnell.
Alright, and what crime have I committed, or do you suspect me of committing?
Okay, what are you being so hostile?
I'm not being hostile, I'm just asking you, because when police approach me,
Yeah.
police come to deal with crimes, do they not?
Not necessarily, no.
What do they come to deal with? Civil matters?
Well, we're here to prevent crime.
So what crime do you suspect me of about to commit?
Not suggesting you're committing a crime at all. So.
Alright then.
What was your first name, so I can talk to you on first name basis?
No, it's fine, I'm not going to give you that.
Okay. Are you filming at the moment?
I am indeed, for my own
Okay, what's the
protection.
purpose of you filming?
My own purpose.
Right.
They approach without introduction or context, just an immediate, unexplained presence that forces Ed to prompt them to identify themselves, revealing how casually they've entered the situation. Instead of answering the most basic question, what offense do you suspect? They avoid it altogether, labeling him hostile. But that word is used far too loosely. Asking officers to justify their actions isn't aggression. It's a reasonable demand for accountability. Ed's calm insistence highlights the standard they're required to meet. And as the exchange continues, the inability to clearly articulate any suspected offense only makes their position increasingly difficult to defend.
Well, you're here at the...
Can I ask you a question? Am I being detained?
No, you're not being detained, no.
See you later then.
But you're not, you can't go through there.
I just asked the gentleman if I could go through and he said yeah.
Chris?
Did you not just tell me the way to the bus station?
You did ask me where the bus is, alright.
And left at the machine and all the way down?
I did say that.
Yeah.
Okay, can
Okay.
I just...
No, you can't actually.
Okay, well, whilst you're walking, I'll just make it quite
Are you
clear
following
for
me?
I'm not following
You're
you.
harassing me.
I'm not harassing
I'm trying to
you, I'm
walk away.
talking to
Okay, I'm
you.
going to go this way instead then.
No, if you...
So if you... No, I'm going to go to the bus stop. Okay? Leave me alone. Alright?
Okay, that's fine. If you make your way to the bus stop, that'd be great.
I'm not going. You're not going to follow me.
What?
Which way are you going?
Sorry?
Which way are you going?
Look, if you don't want me to follow...
I'm just asking you which way you're going.
I'm not here to cause...
I'm just asking you which way you're going.
It doesn't matter which way I go, I can go whichever way I like. I'm not being...
Alright, I'll wait for you to go then.
I'm not being dictated to by you.
Do you know your
where
oath?
I go. Alright?
Do you know your oath?
Yeah, I do.
Can you say it to me?
No.
I'll start you
I'm
off.
not going to say it to you.
I'll start you off.
I'm not here to justify my actions.
No,
to
you're
you.
here to uphold the law.
I am
Have I broken it?
Not at the moment, you haven't.
So leave me alone.
They tell him he's not being detained, so he does exactly what that freedom allows and begins to walk away. But instantly, the tone changes. They question where he's going, following him as if his freedom exists only in theory, not in reality. It's a contradiction that's impossible to ignore. Either he's free to leave, or he isn't. As the encounter continues, the issue deepens. Ego begins to take control. Ed calmly asks the officer to repeat his oath, not for show, but as a reminder of the standard he's sworn to uphold. The officer refuses, brushing it off and claiming he owes no explanation. And in that moment, the message is clear. Accountability isn't being upheld, even though policing, at its core, is meant to operate with transparency, responsibility, and public trust.
Isn't consensual.
That's fine.
Policing by consent. Leave me alone.
Okay, off you go then.
No, I will
Have a
go.
nice day.
I will go when I'm ready.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fine.
Cool.
Have a nice day.
I will. I'm actually having a lovely day.
Okay. If you could make your way to the bus station, though,
Why?
that would be great.
Why?
Okay, that's fine. I'm not here.
So why do you keep telling me what to do?
I'm not telling you what
You
to do.
are. You just said make your way to the bus station.
You
Like
said
what
you were
right?
making your way-
Can I just ask you? What right do you have to tell me what to do when I haven't broken the law?
Okay.
You haven't got a right to tell me what to do when I haven't broken the law. So stop trying to bully me.
I'm not trying to.
Yes, you are. You're trying to tell me what to do.
I'm trying to find out why you're walking around a university
Because
with a camera.
I'll tell you why. Because I'm allowed to.
Okay.
Photography is not a
Some
crime.
of this university is private premises.
No, it's not.
It is.
Do you know?
Okay,
Are you familiar with Section 33 of the Criminal Justice Act 1972?
No, I'm not.
No, you're
not
not. But you should be.
Okay.
Because it's the law.
Okay.
Which says at the material time of operating, the public are allowed access, whether upon payment or not.
To where?
Anywhere that is open. This is a public space. These lines were painted by the council.
The tone begins to shift, less authoritative, more quietly intimidating, with instructions delivered as if authority alone makes them lawful. When that doesn't hold, the fallback appears. Private premises, repeated with confidence as though saying it enough makes it true. But Ed stays composed, responding with precision instead of emotion. He grounds the exchange in law, asking a direct question, whether the officer is familiar with Section 33 of the Criminal Justice Act 1972, a provision recognizing public access in areas people are ordinarily allowed to be. The officer admits he isn't, and that moment becomes pivotal, because when boundaries can't be legally defined, enforcement turns into assumption. Ed reinforces his point with undeniable evidence, council road markings, clear signs of a public highway that simply wouldn't exist on truly restricted land.
You're mistaken.
No,
Part of this
I'm not.
university is private property.
Can I just ask you
There
another
is
something?
public access.
If I was to
part
say
of
to
the
you,
university.
I'm not going anywhere, what could you do?
Sorry?
If I was to say to you, I'm not going to leave now, what could you do?
Well, I don't intend to do anything.
You
at the moment.
couldn't do anything because I haven't broken the law. When those guys rang you and reported a crime, what you should have said to them is not breaking
They
the
have
law.
reported a crime.
What did they
They
do?
reported a suspicious person filming at a
suspicion-
university campus.
Is photography a crime? You're recording. You're
Well, I
recording.
don't know.
You guys,
How
let me
do
just
I know
you,
that you're not filming for terrorist
do you know?
purposes?
You see that on your uniform?
Yeah.
That thin blue line thing.
How
That is
do
an utter disgrace.
How do I know?
You disgrace the country with that.
How do I know that you're not filming for terrorist purposes?
Sir, we
for example?
go on what we do know, what we do, not what we don't.
Well, not necessarily.
No,
That's again
so-
where you're wrong. Isn't
Okay,
it?
so what reasonable suspicion do you have that I'm a terrorist,
Well,
sir?
you're filming a university campus.
So you're
with a
trying to get me
camera.
on Section 43.
No, I'm not.
So why'd you mention it then?
Well, because I'm just explaining that you seem to think that I can only act when a crime's been reported. but
No. You're more than willing to come up to me and ask me.
Yeah.
If you can articulate reasonable suspicion that I may be a terrorist,
Well, you're walking around a university campus with a camera. And
This is a uni.
And you won't explain why.
but I don't have to.
Security labeling him as suspicious doesn't tie unlawful filming into a crime. It simply reflects discomfort with being observed. When it asks the most basic question, is recording itself illegal? They have no answer because none exists. Instead, they pivot to speculation, raising the possibility of terrorist intent without a shred of evidence. But that's not reasonable suspicion. It's imagination stretched to its limits. Ed cuts through it with clarity. Effective policing relies on facts, not fear. If the only behavior in question is filming in a public space, then no lawful basis for suspicion exists. What's really on display isn't enforcement, but unease with accountability.
Well, then that gives me suspicion of what your activity is.
So you think I'm a terrorist? You have reasonable suspicion that I am up to terrorist activities.
I don't know why you're...
I'm not engaged in any
why are you
hostile
filming?
reconnaissance because I can, as my rights allow me to. Is this not a free country?
Yeah, but...
So am I not allowed to own a camera?
You are allowed to
You're
own a camera.
filming. What's the difference between
You're
you
allowed
and
to own a
I?
camera and you're allowed to film.
And what's
And
the
I'm not-
difference between you
and
and
I'm not preventing you
why,
from doing that.
But why
I'm
are you
not
accusing me of
turning
being a
the camera
terrorist
off.
then?
I'm not accusing you of being
Well, why are
a
you saying I'm
terrorist.
suspicious?
I'm just saying there are some concerns about your
What concerns?
nature of why you're filming
What
in an empty
concerns?
university.
What concerns?
But then it gives me suspicion for why you're here with a camera.
Suspicion is not a crime.
No, but it gives me grounds to do certain things if I feel it
Are
necessary.
you threatening me?
I'm not threatening you.
So
I'm
what do you mean
explaining
then?
what the law is.
Well, you don't know the law because that's not
Well,
right.
I think I do.
Well, tell me what reasonable suspicion you have.
Well, why are you filming a university when it's
I'm not
closed
telling you.
with a camera?
I'm not telling you.
Okay, well then I'm suspicious.
That's fine. You can be suspicious.
I can, yeah.
Yeah, you can.
But then I can also act on that suspicion
No, you
if I
can't.
feel it appropriate.
You can. Yeah, you can, and I'll sue you.
Okay, well, but that's my decision.
Yeah, I know. When you lose your job.
Well, I'm not doing that, am I?
No, because you're scared
But
to.
you're not helping our cause.
I don't
here,
have
are
to
you?
help.
Ed is forced to repeat himself, not because his point lacks clarity, but because it's being deliberately ignored. Filming in a publicly accessible area doesn't become illegal simply because it makes someone uncomfortable. He exposes the contradiction head-on. They're recording him while labeling his camera as suspicious. That hypocrisy says everything. It was never about filming, but about who was holding the camera. Then comes the critical shift, the claim that suspicion alone justifies further action. That's where the line is crossed. Suspicion isn't a blank check. It must be based on clear, reasonable grounds tied to a specific offense. Without that foundation, It stops being lawful authority and becomes outright overreach.
I don't have to help you, do I?
You don't have to.
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, okay. I think we understand where we are.
I know where I understand where I am. I know the
understand
law,
where
you
I am.
don't. You those gentlemen over there, the guys who called the police, whoever called the police, I suggest you go and speak to them about Section 5 of the Criminal Law Act 1967, making a false report, because that's wasting police time, which is actually a criminal offence.
Okay. It's been nice talking to you. If you're heading towards the bus stop, then
I'll go wherever I like.
Have a lovely day.
I'll go wherever I like.
Well, you won't go wherever you like.
I will, indeed.
Because parts of this.
I'll go anywhere that is publicly accessible. I will go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no one will stop me.
Yeah.
Not those guys up there. Not you guys
But what
either.
you need to understand at the moment.
I don't need to understand
just say
anything.
that
I know the
we're
law.
clear Is so do I.
Yeah, no, you don't.
So do I. Okay.
You don't. You don't even
This
know
is
what Criminal Justice Section 33 of the Criminal Justice Act 1972 is. Do you know it?
This is a
You need to
private.
know the ins and outs.
Of course you know. Of course, if you're gonna uphold the law, you have to know the ins and outs of the law. How can you tell me that you don't have to know the ins and outs of the law, but then you're here to uphold it? How does that make?
Ed doesn't just defend himself. He flips the narrative, placing the spotlight exactly where it belongs. With calm precision, he points out that if any line has been crossed, it may be by the person who made the exaggerated report, highlighting how knowingly providing false information that wastes police time is itself an offense. Yet that angle is completely ignored, and that omission speaks volumes. Instead, all scrutiny stays fixed on him while the credibility of the complaint goes unquestioned. When the familiar claim arises, you can't go wherever you like. Ed dismantles it with clarity, reinforcing that such authority only exists when tied to clearly defined legal boundaries, and he is well within a publicly accessible space. What follows is even more telling. An officer casually dismisses the need to understand the finer details of the law. That's not a small oversight, it's a revealing admission, because when authority is exercised without a clear grasp of its legal limits, it raises serious concerns about accountability, competence, and the very foundation of that authority itself.
You're even in Somerset Constabulary, innit?
Okay.
Absolute joke.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
I haven't enjoyed myself, actually. You've ruined my day. So go away now, please.
Parts of the university are private premises. There are public access routes.
I won't go anywhere that is private. I haven't been anywhere that's private, and I will not go anywhere that's private. As you could probably understand from the way I speak, I know exactly what I'm doing, sir. I know the laws that surround what I'm doing. I don't appreciate you accusing me of being a terrorist.
Well,
What's your number
I've
again?
not accused you of being a terrorist. I've explained.
693. You threatened
No, I
me. You
haven't.
said, "Oh, now I've got reason."
I've not threatened
Mate,
you
listen,
at all.
the camera doesn't lie.
I've not threatened you.
The
at
camera
all.
doesn't
You
lie.
can play your camera back.
I will. I'll be playing
not
it to
threatened
your
you at all.
superior.
I'm just explaining that if you're filming an empty university that's actually closed at the moment to the university's actually closed. All right, to the students. It's
I'm not a
closed-
student.
It's closed to staff.
I'm not staff.
So why are you here?
I'm a member of the public, and I'm in a publicly accessible area.
Right.
That's why I'm
Okay.
here.
Well, that's fine. If you want to film
I know it's fine.
in open public spaces.
Yeah, and I'm allowed.
That's fine, but
Yeah.
you won't be filming inside buildings.
I don't want to film inside a
okay?
building.
And if you trespass in private property,
It's a civil matter. Are you telling me that you're going to do something for a civil matter?
I will do. 'Cause
Okay. Oh, so
When the conversation turns to the idea that Ed might trespass and start recording inside a building, the tone shifts from enforcement to pure speculation. It's a hypothetical, something that hasn't happened, being used to justify immediate pressure. In reality, basic trespass is typically a civil matter between a property owner and an individual, not a police issue unless specific legal conditions are met. Preemptively invoking authority over a situation that doesn't exist isn't enforcement, it's overreach. And the facts here are straightforward. Ed isn't inside any building, hasn't bypassed security, and isn't refusing any lawful instruction backed by clear legal power.
another
security
complaint.
asks you to leave a private
They
premises
haven't-
and you
but I
refuse,
haven't been on private property.
and you refuse
But I haven't
to,
been on private property.
then I'll have
Sir,
to consider
listen.
my powers under the breach of the peace.
Oh, so now you're threatening me for a crime that listen. What part of my behaviour is threatening or abusive?
Well, nothing at the moment.
Okay, so don't threaten me with something that
I'm not
hasn't
threatening
happened
you.
or that isn't going to
I
happen.
also
You
know
are.
the
That's
law,
no. Listen, you're
okay?
just threatening me with breach of the peace when a breach of the peace isn't going to happen
Well,
because
one
I'm
of
not
my
acting in.
fundamental roles is to prevent a breach of the peace.
Yeah, but there's going to be no breach of the peace because I'm not acting in a
That's
threatening
right.
or abusive
So
behaviour.
All I'm saying is don't go into private
I could-
premises,
listen,
don't film in the
how many
buildings.
times do you want to say that?
Okay, otherwise...
How many times do you want to say that, considering the fact that I said...
And then I'll have to support them to prevent a breach of the peace, is all I'm saying.
That's fine, you
And
could
that's
do...
me knowing my law.
That's fine, you could do that, but
Yeah,
I
I
promise
can,
you
yeah.
that if the course of action that you've just stated happens, I'll sue you.
Well, that's fine. You're entitled to sue
And I'm
me.
going to make a complaint. 3 complaints in this 8 minutes 46 seconds and 3 complaints about you. You're smart for keeping your mouth shut.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
You can complain.
See you
if
later
like.
then, guys. Go.
Okay.
Out of nowhere, the officer invokes breach of the peace. as if the phrase alone can give weight to a weak argument. But that power isn't a catch-all. It's reserved for situations involving imminent harm, real threats, or escalating violence. It cuts straight to the core, asking the only question that matters. What has he actually done that is threatening or abusive? The response is revealing. None at the moment. And in that instant, the entire justification falls apart. You can't warn of a breach of the peace while admitting there's no threatening behavior. Without aggression, hostility, or any sign of escalation, invoking it isn't preventative policing. It's clear overreach.
I'm not being rude.
Okay.
Plus, is rudeness a crime? Is it a free country? If I would like to be rude, I'm well within my rights to be rude. Okay? So go away, please, and leave me alone. You're harassing me.
Okay, that's fine. Thank
All
you
right?
very much.
Go away now. Told me I can't record in there, so now I'm going to have to walk round. You inform these guys that photography is not a crime as well, yeah? Educate these guys on the law. No, you're here. You're a public servant. You're here to uphold the law.
Yep.
These guys have broken the law by filing a false report.
They haven't,
okay?
no.
Yes, they have.
Okay.
Yes, they have. They reported a crime when there wasn't a crime being committed. They made a false report. It is a breach of Section 5 of the Criminal Law Act 1967, and you are failing in your job right now,
Okay.
officer,
Well,
constable.
Thanks very much. It's been very nice talking to you. If you can maintain yourself on the public places,
I'll go wherever
okay,
I like. Thank you.
You know what my position is.
I'll
in
go
relation
wherever.
to
Yeah, you made threats. You made a threat of
I've not made a
arrest. You
threat.
did. You made an illegal threat of arrest. Bullies, guys.
What remains at the end isn't confrontation but avoidance. After suspicion, questioning, and repeated appeals to authority, the officers quietly shift their attention to security without ever properly addressing the foundation of the original report, leaving no clarification or accountability for the initial claim. Control of the interaction gradually fades from their hands, and by the conclusion there is no detention, no search, no warning, and no clearly defined defense, only an encounter built on assumptions rather than law. When Ed walks away, it isn't retreat, but closure. A calm decision to disengage from a conversation that never established a lawful basis.